Rogue One, good marketing. Solo, bad marketing. That's what we've covered here.
And you know what we haven't covered here?
What's that?
Cassian Andor.
Well,
Incoming transmission from an unknown source. It seems to be urgent. Patching them through. They're calling themselves the HoloNet Marauders.
hey everybody, welcome back to the HoloNet Marauders podcast. My name is AJ, and I'm joined here by my bomb bad rebel spies, Jamie and Matt. How are you guys doing?
That was good. Yeah, I'm good.
Doing well.
I look at Matt every time I do the intro, and you always just have the same expression on your face.
Goofy,
you
laughing.
look like you're just about to go on like Space Mountain, and you're just like jazzed.
I am jazzed.
But I get our podcast is a roller coaster sometimes.
That's right.
So
That's
that's
true.
on par. We are joined here today by our good friend from Force Friends Rewatch, Andy. How are you doing today?
Ahoy, yar, mateys!
Yes.
I hear to be joining the crew of the HoloNet Marauders.
You
The
you're
accent
immediately
is optional, but
immediately
guest
you're our
list?
favorite guest.
yeah, you're immediately on top of
I'm
the
going to
list.
do the whole podcast like that.
The accent is also appropriate.
I think National Talk Like a Pirate Day is coming up. So
It is. I'm going to be playing a Blood and Plunder tournament on it.
I'm gonna be playing The Return to Monkey Island, classic LucasArts game coming back. That's
day
what we're
is
talking. We're
that?
talking about that today, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, I think the 19th. I think is
Yeah.
the Talk Like a Pirate Day. Pirate Day.
Jamie just knows.
I just know these
It's
things. Okay.
February 19th.
Oh, yeah.
Did you say February?
I don't know. Bad Batch comes out in January, so maybe.
Oh my god!
Oh,
I'm sorry.
oh,
This episode
oh.
is supposed to be about Andor. We're already going off the
no.
rails.
Well, no.
The last time I talked with Andy, I was on Force Friends with Andy and Ryan, and we talked about the Syndulla arc on the Bad Batch, and so I was off and running for that. But we got confirmation 2 days ago that the Bad Batch is coming back in January 4th of next year. So,
So
I will not be
pumped.
quiet about it until then. And oh gosh, there's so many thoughts. But we're not talking about that today.
No.
We will kind of. I mean, our opening discussion here was going to be there was a lot of news yesterday from D23
Yes.
about Star Wars. We actually got Star Wars news, I guess. We got a few trailers, right?
Wild.
a little Star Wars news, not a lot.
When it was going on, I was pumped, and then it ended, and I'm like, I always want more, but maybe I'm just greedy. But yeah, I guess we'll talk about that news. And
I controversially actually like the timing of Bad Batch because it gives us like a really steady stream now of Dark Times content. We have Obi-Wan, now we have Andor, now we have Bad Batch Season 2, then we're going to have Jedi Survivor and Battle Scars, so it's going to be like a whole
So
year's worth.
What do you mean? You like that it's kind of extended out rather
Yeah.
than with Andor, like we thought it might have been?
Yeah,
Okay.
because Andor is going to end probably in like late November, early December. So it's not like we're going to have a
November,
long
yeah.
time to wait. We're only going to have like a month to wait until Bad Batch. So
Here's the deal. The date was never given to us in the first place.
you're
But
right.
they
And
did say fall.
We were strung around it. It
Yep.
always said fall. Originally,
Yep.
it just said coming 2022. At the end of season 1, there it's coming 2022. And then it was the fall, and then they took it back, and then there was the leak, and then they took it back, and then there was the leak again, and they took it back, and then there was the leak. It was in January, and then it was confirmed it's in January. So
The real ones remember when it
just-
said spring
I just want to
2022.
know if there's another reason for them pushing it back aside from marketing. I just really want to know. That's,
Well, I think I
what it is.
texted Andy. We'll get your thoughts in a, I feel bad just
I know.
spewing out all
Sorry.
the words, not letting the guests talk. But I think everything's just pushed back because Andor was pushed back, and I don't know why they pushed that back. But yeah,
I feel like the whole Andor getting pushed back was so that way it wasn't competing with House of the Dragon and
yeah,
Rings of Power.
yeah.
Because those are other two in the same
I mean, it's still going to be
audience.
competing with them, but
Yeah, but slightly different.
True.
Anyway.
Andy, what were your thoughts about yesterday's news?
I want to address the point that you said where you felt greedy wanting more.
Yeah,
And how old are you?
20. By the time this is out, I might be 29. But yeah, 28.
Okay. So you're roughly in the age where you probably remembered all of the behind the scenes stuff we got when the prequels were coming out. Like they just used to set up a live stream on set, and you could just watch them filming all day. Like that's nuts. So if you're a Star Wars fan and you were like in that age group where like the prequels were for you, and you like would come home from school and watch them filming a Star Wars, like to then go from that to this Disney era where everything is like lock and key, super secret, like, you know, maybe you'll get a trailer someday. It is very different. And so I sympathize. I want more than just like a behind the scenes trailer and then like 2 trailers and then the movie, or in this case, the show. Like, I think it was really cool when they used to show us way more behind the scenes stuff, which I guess we kind of get that now when the show's done. They do like those retrospectives, but I never find those to be particularly insightful. I know some people seem to really like them, but
they never really dig in. You know, in the Phantom Menace, you literally had like a close up of George's face watching the finished product. Like
that one digs in.
Maybe I went a little overboard in a few places. It's like that's the kind of, you know, transparency I love. Same with like The Last Jedi with Mark's problems with Luke and all that. They were like front and center to the production of the film.
They're getting better at these like post like documentaries about the production, because if you think about it, the first like gallery thing that they did, it was that weird round table with like
I didn't like the round table.
And everyone, and it was just like, oh, you were great, and it's like, all right guys, I appreciate that you're all saying that each other is great here, but like, are you going to talk about the content that you made? And it was just like really so nice. Weird, and they've like taken a step back from that because they realize people want to see the actual behind the scenes, and so we're getting there. But
everything is just, to what Andy said, everything's just so secretive now, and it's crazy.
Has to be, though,
I have a weird like 2 sides to my brain that are like, oh, I want more, but also I remember being at Celebration and I was like, oh, we actually got a trailer. That's wild. It's like I shouldn't feel that way. Like they're supposed to.
At Celebration.
I mean, this has come up in the last like 3 podcasts we've done, but it's like, where's our release schedule? Where's our, you know, where's our transparency for all these things?
I've been pounding the table for it for years. Where's the schedule? Where's the Marvel map?
Give me something.
I know.
Give me a plan. Give me something to chew on.
The stuff they did give us, like, how did you guys feel about that?
Oh, baby.
I'm really excited for Tales of the Jedi.
See that?
Oh, wait.
That's holding up Young Jedi Adventures, the High Republic story.
Okay, first things first. Tales of the Jedi.
Hot Dooku.
Oh yeah.
I'm very excited. Like Dooku, like just like seeing his lightsaber, like not as a red lightsaber. Suddenly, it was like, oh, and it was like exactly the same aside from the color. But Tales of the Jedi was leaked last winter, just in the name, because it was on like merch from people who worked on it last year. And then everyone's like, oh, what is it? And then it used to be a Legends comic, I believe.
Yep.
And then Republic. It came out that it was going to be a little anthology series, and then we got info about it at Celebration. But this was the first like real like big, the general public has been shown, hey, there's this show called Tales of the Jedi coming out, and here's what it's going to be. And like I had so many conversations yesterday with people who had no idea this was a show, and they were just like, this is incredible, this is going to be great. And like I'm excited, obviously, as you can tell. Because this was the first like real brush that like I had with it. Because like both of you guys, I'm not sure if you had the chance to, Andy, but get into. No, you didn't. You didn't go to Celebration. Oh, I forgot about that.
me and Adrian did not make it into the.
Zach saw it.
We should have. I
was a little busy that weekend.
A little busy. Congratulations, Andy. Though.
Thank you.
That is much more important.
Congrats.
For context, Andy got married instead of going to Celebration, which is better.
Much more important.
Anyway.
Yeah, priorities.
But yeah, the Tales of the Jedi panel, I didn't get to go into it, but like seeing like this trailer now, I was just like, this is it. This is hitting, and I was not prepared for most of it.
The secret isn't always why does Jamie. It's not a secret, but why does Jamie like Bad Batch so much? It's why does Jamie likes animation so much, I think, is what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I think that is the thing.
Matt and I are always like, what is it about? And I love Bad Batch, and I'm pissed it got delayed and everything.
I do love the animated shows. Like thinking
so much fun.
Back on it,
Yeah.
they're much easier to just like watch casually. Like you guys talk about having like rainy day like movies. Like Matt always mentions Attack of the Clones is his rainy day movie. And like I would much rather just put on like any of the animated stuff. Like I'll like rewatch like Arch
Yeah.
and Rebels. I'll like rewatch stuff from the Clone Wars. So, like that is like it's just much easier just to be like this is my like chill zone.
I agree with that.
I don't know. I just love the animated stuff.
I don't think we've had a live action show hit the way the animated ones do. And
I agree.
don't get me wrong, I love The Mandalorian and I enjoyed Book of Boba Fett and I enjoyed Kenobi, but like Rebels is my Star Wars.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you.
like any of the movies, any of the books, any of the video games, there's tons of them that I love, but like Rebels is my Star Wars. And yeah, I'm excited for more animated Star Wars.
I was literally talking to Ryan like an hour ago about all of this. Our mutual friend Ryan.
Co-host Ryan.
Oh,
Yes.
Pesto's roommate.
Yes, Pesto's roommate Ryan. And we were just like geeking out about how much we love Rebels. And Ryan brought up the fact that like all of the live action Star Wars stuff owes at least a part of it to Rebels. Like Mandalorian continues plot lines from Rebels. Obi-Wan has, the Inquisitors, and it has the same kind of scene that like, Twilight of the Apprentice had Ahsoka slicing open Vader's mask. Obi-Wan kind of mirrored that as well. But yeah, I mean, everything kind of revolves around Rebels, in my opinion. And it is definitely my favorite Star Wars show by like a long shot.
Rebels is my favorite show also. I think it's the best form of Star Wars storytelling. I mean, it's my favorite Star Wars story, start to finish, I think. Just like you guys pretty much said.
I can't believe we're getting a sequel to it.
Yeah, it's to what Matt said, or he said that before the show, and I was like, oh, not to knock that what you said because it was great, but I think Rebels just covers so much. Like it covers the Jedi story, it covers the Mandalorian story. We get the Inquisitors, Ahsoka. We get sequels to Clone Wars in it with Rex and all that, and that's why it's so good, right? So
Yeah,
Yes.
it's so expansive.
But with that though, there's a good jumping off point for we found out who's going to be Ezra,
Right.
and
right.
I'm not one big for casting news, especially when I don't know. Yeah,
He looks like him.
Until
He
it's
looks like
him.
officially announced by Lucasfilm, I do
True,
not trust
true.
it. I do not trust any rumor.
I don't even know
fan
where did the
leaks,
report come
whatever.
from. Like,
Came from Deadline, which is usually pretty spot on.
okay,
I mean,
That was reported
yeah,
the other day.
Deadline's a little more legit than certain other outlets that like to leak casting. But
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
we may or may not have found our Ezra.
but
You know what's more important here is Taylor Gray doing the Buffalo Wild Wings commercial.
What?
Have you guys heard this?
I don't know
No,
what you're
what?
talking about.
So
the hell are
the
you
kid,
talking
the
about?
kid who did the voice for Ezra in Rebels, Taylor Gray. I believe that's what his name is. That would be awful if it wasn't. He did a voiceover for Buffalo Wild Wings, and it's literally the Ezra voice. So it's Ezra talking about getting wings, and it's the best thing you ever heard.
That's canon.
Oh my god,
my
it
God.
is. And like that dropped like as we got this like pretty much confirmed like live action Ezra news. So it's like
Interesting.
this is good.
It's
This is good. So,
amazing.
I can't believe you guys didn't see that one.
No.
But
Different
casting aside, we know Ezra is going to be.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess we heavily assume Ezra is going to be in the Ahsoka show. Matt, I know you're very excited for that show, as am I. But you're like, that's your thing.
Yeah, that's my thing. Ahsoka is the one project now that I'm looking forward to the most.
I'm surprised they didn't show a trailer for that yesterday, or at least just
They-
re-release the one to the
couple
public.
of leaked screenshots came out.
Two
Right.
Apparently, they
pictures.
did show something.
Okay.
More than the two pictures?
I mean, I
Three
don't know.
pictures.
I don't know. Yeah,
What was
there
the
were
third
3 leaked screenshot pictures of whatever screen was
I saw
showing.
those. Yeah. I think.
They're all of Ahsoka kind of like just hanging out.
In like a cave or
Yep.
temple or something. Yeah.
But yeah,
You know, we got the shot of Sabine looking at the mural, and
That
that
was
looks
a great
hilarious.
shot.
But I got the dangerous thoughts of whenever we actually get a clear image of Sabine's outfit, I want to make it, and I feel so ashamed because I haven't even seen it yet, and I want to make it.
It's such a. You
Of
should
course.
one day.
Why am I like this?
The shot you're talking about was so great because like
Yeah.
it breaks my brain because it's like animated in the back and it's live action in the front. So I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what is this? It looks
So, like-
it looks
Mullet,
really
it's a
good.
party.
Rebels was literally just like Sabine's art style. Like the whole
Yeah.
show is just Sabine's art style. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
What if? Oh my god, Sabine just made her own cartoon of her family. I would.
Like a comic book?
Yeah. What if Rebels is just Sabine?
I'd like to
retelling
think
the
she made a comic book based on the adventures of Callus and Zeb,
Yeah, there you go.
and that's what it's
Oh, yeah.
called.
And she
There
got
you
that
go.
guy from the Buffalo Wild Wings commercial to voice Ezra. Because Ezra's gone.
But
Anyway,
anyways,
we're getting.
we've talked about Tales of the Jedi. We've talked about the Ahsoka show a bit. Bad Batch, they didn't say anything except it's postponed.
You know what's
Young-
okay? Most
Young
curious.
Jedi
Hang on, before
Adventures.
Young Jedi. Most curious about the Bad Batch was they announced it. So Dave Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy announced the dates on stage. But if you look at any of the Bad Batch social media, the Twitter, the Instagram, any of it, they haven't posted anything post-wise. They posted it on the story, but that disappears, right? They haven't posted a physical thing, and it still says in the bio as of right now, September 2022, that it's coming this fall.
Come on, guys.
I don't know what they're doing.
There's
But
still
they,
hope.
Let's get on
they
that.
they don't know.
They're still hoping.
There's still hope.
So Young Jedi Adventures. Young Jedi Adventures.
All I have to
They-
say about that is the animation looks like Jimmy Neutron. I mean, look at that.
Well,
It
it's
looks like Jimmy Neutron.
it's a young kids show. I'm super
Yeah.
excited to have like that kind of like content like available.
Star
'cause they
Wars
said it'll
is
be
for everyone.
Disney
Yeah.
Junior,
All ages.
and like younger Disney Plus. But it's very cute, and it's High Republic, which
I
is the
don't
first
think I'm
like,
going to be watching it,
dive
but
into things.
Honestly,
the
I
High
probably
Republic
will.
fact itself makes me more curious about it than I
Yeah,
would be
the
otherwise.
fact we're getting any sort of High Republic visual media in animation it's a good sign.
Yeah, well, you
It's
know why
very
they made
good
it
sign.
High Republic.
So that way
So
none
it
of these kids would die.
Exactly. We had that problem with the Padawans in Clone Wars. They introduced this as like a spin-off, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute,
Andy,
right
have
around
you-
the corner.
Have you read any of the High Republic stuff?
I have not. I had like when the canon reboot happened.
Yeah.
I was reading everything, and like I really kept up with every comic, every novel. I was really adamant about it, and like part of me realized like I'm not having fun doing this. Like there's too much, and like
There's a lot,
it's
yeah.
not all for me. Like especially as like more young adult books started coming out. Like some young adult books, I read them and I'm like, this slapped, I loved it. And then sometimes I read them and I'm like, that was a little like too kiddie.
Yeah.
So when the High Republic started, and there was this real like push for like more diversity, I was like, okay, the second there is a gay couple, I'll start reading. And to this date, there has not been a single
Yeah.
queer. Sorry, there's been a queer man, but he's ace. There hasn't been a gay man yet.
Yeah, they really
And-
beat around the bush with it. They're trying, but it's really weird.
Like I'm pumped for like other queer identities that have been represented in the High Republic, and I think that's awesome. And I do want Star Wars to keep doing stuff like that. But for me and like reading right now, I'm like being way more particular about like what sort of novels I invest in. And so far, the High Republic just hasn't grabbed me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think the timeline is dope, and I love the aesthetic. So like, it seems really cool, and I have friends who love it. So like, more power to them. But I personally haven't jumped on board yet.
I will
Yeah.
say in The Rising Storm, there's a really cute, like, interaction between two characters. It is a romance. There's a cute romance between two male characters in The Rising Storm that I liked. It's not very prominent, though, but it is there.
Mm.
Jamie
looking
is
back-
trying to remember.
I'm looking back at the book, like looking at it's gonna like jog my memory.
Like, it's gonna
Chancellor
tell you.
So's son, if you remember.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's.
But the
it's
fact
pretty-
I have to
pretty
like
minor,
think
but,
half an hour
yeah.
about it,
Yeah.
it's like wasn't prominent
Yeah.
enough.
No.
Could be more.
But yeah, I mean, if it eventually comes more to on screen, more than Young Jedi Adventures,
Yeah.
So
hopefully
and like
one day.
this like new show is another thing that like I'm pumped it's happening. It's not for me though. Like I don't have
Yeah.
kids. I'm not gonna watch it on my own. Like it's
With
not
your
geared
pords?
towards
You're not
me.
gonna watch it
but
with your
like
pords?
yeah, me and my ports are gonna sit down and watch it. But like I have plenty of friends who are Star Wars fans and they have really young kids, and I'm sure they're gonna be pumped that they have an age appropriate show to put on for their little Padawans that they can enjoy Star Wars together. I think that's like freaking awesome. So
Yeah, I think that's super important that like Lucasfilm like realized that a lot of people are like in like our age bracket who have like really young kids right now. So it's like, hey, we should make something additional for them.
And they don't.
Which
They don't
is
have too
good that
many-
They're actually doing that.
They don't have too many things for like little kids like that. The more I think about it, like
No, they've just made like
Yeah.
the shorts.
Clone Wars is way too
on
violent for little
Star Wars
kids.
kids.
Like the Lego Star Wars stuff,
Yeah.
probably.
Kind
the
of.
Ahmed
Be-
Best Temple
Oh.
Challenge thing,
Yeah.
that was fun.
Yeah.
That was good.
I love like the Galaxy of Adventure shorts as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Those
then
are
they
great.
also had like I talk about the one with the porg all the time arriving on Batu. That is like literally if I'm having a really bad day, I will watch that video like 20 times on repeat of this little porg just strutting around Batu. It's fantastic. But they have like the Galaxy Explorers as well of like this robot or droid, excuse me.
Robot.
Robot.
Showing off creatures like around the galaxy and then other like it's very cute, but it's just on like YouTube Kids, and so it's weird that they have like that market in YouTube videos, but then they also are going to be like, oh, let's do like a Disney Plus series, trying everything.
and like if you're a hardcore fan, you should be excited when there's Star Wars content that isn't for you. I
Yeah.
think like you
Oh,
should
yeah.
be pumped that Star Wars is expanding to bring in new people. Like because
Absolutely.
when they push, you know, certain types of books or certain types of comics or certain types of media, and you're like, oh well, that's too kiddie or that's too this or that's too that. For me, that's a good thing. That means that like Star Wars is going to keep bringing in new fans, and that means that the like IP has more longevity. Because I firmly remember times where there was no Star Wars, and that was like a huge
Yeah.
bummer. Or when Star Wars was only like a certain type of novel, and like if you didn't want to read that novel, then like cool, you're not getting any new Star Wars for a long time. So
Yeah.
I think it's awesome that like they're doing stuff like this little kiddie show, and like it looks adorable. So I'm pumped for my friends with kids who are gonna watch it with them, and I'm pumped for the kids that they're gonna have like what looks to be like a really fun show.
Yeah.
To everybody complaining that Star Wars never used to have exclusively kid content, because I see that a lot. People are like, "Oh, what are they doing? They're making kiddie stuff."
What was
You know.
Ewoks?
Exactly, Ewoks, droids.
Droids. Yeah.
Yeah,
Battle for Endor?
People are crazy. People are crazy. I mean, that it comes down to just I don't know if they have tunnel vision or it's
The-
just like one of those things where
The
Yeah.
Trioculus novels?
oh, the Whalodons.
And as a kid, I remember when Phantom Menace came out, I had like those computer like learning games. I had like a Jar Jar
Yeah, the
adventure.
Jar Jar Adventure.
Yeah, I mean that was absolutely for kids.
Oh, yeah,
Would I still
for
play
sure.
it today? Maybe, but
We tried to recently. We found
we
the
did. It
disc
didn't work.
and we put it in the ancient computer that we have. It still didn't work, but
Now you got me
Whatever.
thinking of the Glove of Darth Vader novel where all the Imperials greet each other with dark greetings, which is just so good. Oh,
The
have we
camp.
have we missed anything from D23 here?
and
I didn't think. I gotta say, I didn't think we'd spend that much time on whatever
I know.
the show's called, but it is good that
Marauders.
they're reaching out to.
I think that's it for like show stuff. There were no movie announcements. There weren't any new series. Oh, there was an image from Skeleton Crew. Just a
Oh,
picture
right,
of
yeah.
Dude
Skeleton
Law,
Crew,
Law.
yeah.
which is very cool. Show-wise, though, I don't really think anything else. They announced today that Mando and Grogu are going to be at Galaxy's Edge. starting
in
later this
Disneyland.
year. Disneyland only. And Grogu's in the bag and he moves, which is very cool.
That is really cool.
Is the Rogue One movie happening still?
Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, sorry, Rogue Squadron.
No updates.
Yeah,
no
we don't
updates.
know.
I think it.
There were
I think
no
it
movie
will be.
updates at all.
But
Okay.
Yeah.
Rumor the other day came out. I think it was on a production schedule or something where no new Star Wars movies are now listed until at least 2024.
yeah,
That's not that
So
far, though.
I'm thinking 2025. I think 10 years after Force Awakens is going to be Star Wars' return to the big screen.
do you think
And
that's
then-
It's
intentional?
almost 10 years old?
That's going to fry my brain. I'm already not.
Do you think that's intentional
processing
because at the time they thought it was getting like too saturated? Which
Maybe.
I agree and disagree, but I don't think you have to wait 10 years
I
to.
don't think so. I think that they just wanted to focus on their own platform, not on the box office instead. That's
Right.
what it is.
I wish they had kept up the like standalone A Star Wars Story movies.
Agreed.
I think
Especially
they
Solo.
learned the wrong lesson from Solo. And I
Yep.
don't think Solo did poorly because, like the movie, I think it did poorly because it was rushed to come out too soon after The Last Jedi. There wasn't enough time to build hype for it because everyone was like focusing on The Last Jedi. And it just like everyone had gotten used to seeing Star Wars movies at Christmas time. And then Solo came out in May.
Yeah.
If they had
And-
just waited
and
6 months,
It
I think
came
it would
out
have done way better.
alongside. It came out alongside Infinity War and Deadpool 2 and like all these
Yeah.
like crazy box office busting movies. Yeah, it was
So
just there were like 20 lessons to learn and they didn't learn any of them.
No,
They
yeah,
learned another one that wasn't supposed to be there.
I really think Kenobi should have been a movie. And
Yes,
don't get me wrong, I
absolutely.
liked the show, but I
Yeah.
think it should have been a movie,
Mhm.
and I think it would have done gangbusters in theaters. I think
agree.
people
I
would have been
agree.
pumped to have seen Hayden and Ewan in a Star Wars on the big screen again. So
Yep. And it would have been more
Um,
condensed. It would have been more just streamlined. It would
I-
have had better pacing, better plot.
I'd almost
Yeah.
say the same with Book of Boba in a way, but
I
don't
do
know.
think at this point, like it's good to let it breathe after finishing the sequel trilogy. Like I think that's a good call. I think it makes sense to wait a few years, get people hyped again. I do think they should keep Star Wars at Christmas. I think it's a really fun like Christmas tradition now.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
I'm
Yeah.
with you 100% on that.
I agree. I was gonna say something else there, but I don't remember now. Oh, I think they're being careful with like what movie they want back, like for the return. Maybe they
Yes.
were like, oh, we don't want Rogue Squadron, just like a fighter pilot movie to be the one. Although like, I don't know, you see like Top Gun come out and people like love that, so I don't know, but I don't know, like maybe they want a Jedi movie to be or something more a more Jedi focused movie.
I
or
hope it's the
something.
Ryan trilogy.
Same,
I
yeah.
hope it is too, but it's definitely not. I mean, he
all
seems
signs-
to be completely.
It points
like
to the Taika movie, right?
Yeah, I think it's
But-
going to be the Taika movie
Whatever
Um,
that is.
because
I
he's
want
writing it
someone-
right now. He's taking a little while to do it.
I just
Yeah.
want someone who's not like a really like known director, someone who's good, but someone who's not this like big name. That's what I like want more so of. Like I want
Fine,
someone...
I'll do it. All right.
Okay, go for it.
Well,
Matt.
like that was Ryan Johnson though.
Exactly,
Like pre
that
yeah,
was.
but now
pre Star Wars, he was my favorite writer director, but that's because I'm a weirdo who loves films that no one's heard of. But
yeah,
like,
so then like find it, and like he's super busy with the Knives Out
Knives
movies.
Out.
This
Yeah,
new
now
sequel
Star Wars has
trailer
made him
just came out,
famous.
so
Glass
Now he's off
Onion.
doing his own thing.
which
Yeah,
looks
I'm excited
incredible.
for that. I'm looking
Um,
forward to that too.
Glass
I can't
Onion.
believe Daniel Craig plays a Southern detective. Like I
Benoit
think about
Blanc.
this like
I love
all
it so
the
much.
time.
It's so funny.
Anyway,
But we are
We're
the main focus of today's
Whoa,
show
at the
Really?
half-hour mark.
is
Hey,
to
yeah,
talk
second.
about
yes.
we've been waiting half an hour now to play that clip. No,
Give me that one more time.
Yep.
one more. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking about
That's
So
never
that
going to get
is,
old, and I am never going to call him Andor again after this show comes out.
that's the quote of all of these trailers. I would say it's the thing that stuck with me the most.
That's the thing that stuck with them the most. They keep releasing that clip, that one, soundbite of his name.
Probably only authorized to like share so much so far,
True.
but We shall see.
But yeah,
So Andor.
Who's excited for Andor? I'm. Oh yeah.
Excited?
If you're listening on the audio, we're all raising our hands.
All of us.
I was like, yeah, I was like this.
Oh,
I'm very
okay.
excited for Andor. I think this show's gonna be beautiful visually and non-visually. And I'm known. You guys all know that I don't love Rogue One. I like Rogue One a lot, but it didn't stick with me like it stuck with some other people. But I love Cassian. Like, Cassian wasn't the issue with me with the movie. I love Cassian, and you can do so much with him. Everyone knows that I love spy things so much, and this is basically going to be a spy thriller. But yeah. How about you guys?
AJ, we
Excited
should
for the show?
have, to prepare for this, we should have pulled up the photo that our friend took of us right after we saw Rogue One, and we're both just kind of like staring at him, just like, ugh.
I had a grin on my face,
You guys are
and you
crazy.
looked
No, okay.
not happy. I don't know.
I've talked about this before many times. The timing of Rogue One when it was released is what my problem was with it. It came out in 2016, a year after The Force Awakens came out. So I was riding the high of the sequel trilogy, and then they just shoved this in there, and it was fantastic. But I was just like, I wanted the sequel trilogy. I didn't want that at the time, and like, it's gotten to the point like now, like every time I rewatch Rogue One, I'm just like, this is a really good movie, and like I love like to watch it and rewatch it. But like the original release of it, I was just like, I'm upset.
It didn't help that there was this social media like competition, as there always is. That like, oh, Rogue One was better than Force Awakens, and I'm like, well, I really liked Force Awakens.
This is also like weird to look back on, but like 2015 into 2016 and those early releases of the sequels and of the standalone movies was a big like social media like reckoning as well. Like, so the way that social media was used is like kind of like the way that it is like now, but like 2015 was like that one of that like big catalyst moment of people being so angry to everyone on so many platforms all the time. Like, it existed beforehand on like the forums and like behind private places, but you never saw it so publicly until like that time, which just added to it. And now it's everywhere now, and it just drives me insane. I want to like take a break like every single day I open my phone, and it's just baffling. Anyway, that's my rant on that. I don't really have a point, but
anyway, Cassian Andor.
Andy, you rewatched Rogue One today, right?
I did.
So what are your Rogue One thoughts?
I love Rogue One. It holds a special place in my heart because it's my husband's favorite movie, favorite Star Wars movie.
Okay.
I would say he's a Star Wars fan, but like more chill, more casual than I am. And so I love that he loves Rogue One so much. He cosplays Cassian, which is fun. I cosplay Callus, so we do Fulcrum pictures together, and we're the only two that remember that they're both Fulcrum agents. But yeah, rewatching the movie again today, I am always struck at how queer, for like lack of a better word, I feel like Rogue One is, whether it's like Baze and Shurit, or if you read the aftermath, or not the aftermath, if you read the novel Catalyst, thank you, Galen and Krennic are like, whether or not Galen reciprocates, Krennic is definitely like obsessed in a way that is not totally heterosexual with Galen Erso. And having Mads Mikkelsen play Galen Erso, I think also just kind of adds a little bit. Us queers love his Hannibal Lecter. So seeing him in a Star Wars is like always blows my mind. I'm like, oh yeah, they got the gay Hannibal Lecter into a Star Wars movie. This is amazing. So yeah, I love Rogue One. I think it slaps. I think it was incredibly bold to kill the main cast. I love that they did that. I think it's a very like inherently hopeful movie that like came out at a time where things were like kind of very uncertain and rough politically.
Right after November of 2016.
Yep.
I think that also like adds to the queer energy of it, in that like you have to snatch victories from tragedies in our community, and you have to like, it might be pointless to fight sometimes, or it might feel pointless to like stand up and fight and like voice your truth, but like that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Like sometimes it's not about winning, sometimes it's just about like saying your piece and like being okay with it not going your way. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I really love about it. I think Blue Leader is a snack, and I love
Antok
him.
Merrick.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have his figure around here somewhere.
I love Antok Merrick.
He's great.
I loved the first trailer that dropped with the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's I mean, the soundtrack is fantastic. Look, I could talk about Rogue One all day. I'm sorry. I love the fandom around Rogue One specifically. Like there was tons of great fan fiction. There's tons of great fan art. It connected with people who I think don't typically consider themselves hardcore Star Wars fans, which I think is really interesting.
That is a cool part of it, yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of really cool stuff around Rogue One specifically that I loved. I loved how diverse the cast was. That's definitely the most diverse cast we've ever gotten in a live action Star Wars product. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of good things to say about this movie.
It's so effortless too, the way that it kind of like came across, in most like situations. But like I feel like with all of it, with like the diversity alone, and just like the way we can like read into it like afterwards, it does seem effortless, even though like it did get totally reshot. It does come across as like, hey, like this is just normal, and I love that about it as well.
Everything about it felt like it'd been in Star Wars all along. Like I saw the U-wing and I was like, oh, that's always been like that. Just feels like it's always been here.
Death
I saw
Troopers.
the blue Admiral Akbar's the
Raditz
just like
and all them.
yeah, and the white ones, it was just like, oh, they've always been here. Like they just look like they've always been here. Mon Calamari. Someone was gonna like tweet at me. The blue.
Oh, I didn't realize you were fishing for
We're
that.
just rolling with it. Oh, fishing.
Fishing.
Oh, that is incredibly insensitive of you, Matt. Oh my goodness.
So sorry.
Cancel Matt. Cancel.
But yeah, that's such a cool point. Like, you add these new things into Star Wars, and especially Rogue One, because Rogue One was really supposed to hit with that original trilogy feel. And you're like, oh wait, Death Troopers weren't in the original trilogy. We never saw these guys, but they fit so well. It's like, oh yeah, they were always here. Like that's believable. And the U-wing and the TIE Striker and all the new ships and stuff they added. Like, I don't know. And just Scarif. We'll get to Scarif.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it pioneered
yeah.
something that Star Wars has been doing a lot lately. First, live action product that adapted a character from animation, Saw Gerrera. That's a big deal too.
Great point.
But he's been name dropped. Here we go.
The video game stuff that came out around that time too was really cool. The like Battlefront levels that were specifically Rogue One and the DLCs were a ton of fun to like.
Scarif.
I believe they dropped before the movie did. So like you got to play these battles and get super hyped and then go to the theater. They've dropped a ton of Rogue One stuff for Star Wars Legion, which is a tabletop game that I love, and getting to like paint up and field Krennic and Jyn and Cassian and K2 is just a ton of fun. So
yeah. Star Wars, Rogue One, good marketing. Solo, bad marketing. That's what we've covered here.
And you know what we haven't covered here?
What's that?
Cassian Andor.
Well, we had to get to Rogue One to get to Andor. But the show is coming out 3 episodes at once.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Like I said I was greedy earlier, but I don't want 3 episodes at once. I'm being overfed.
3 hours of
and then people with podcasts and stuff, we have to cover all 3 episodes in like
so
1
much.
week.
Well, it's like they're dropping a movie.
pretty much.
Yes.
I feel like it's their way to make it up to us, because I mean it got delayed 3 weeks, and they're giving us 3 episodes, and I'm like,
I'm assuming that because it got delayed 3 weeks, they need it done by a certain date to push whatever other product is dropping, a few weeks later. So I feel like they are front loading early episodes because they still need Cassian finished by a certain date to
Yeah, that
then
makes
drop
sense.
whatever is coming after. I'm assuming that's why.
No, yeah, that does make sense.
Whatever
Yeah.
marketing robots they have running calculations at Disney Plus about when to drop what and
The
how soon
malfunctioning marketing
between
robots.
how soon between different releases and stuff.
To go off what you said earlier, Andy, about the political time Rogue One came out, and I know a lot of the showrunners have been talking about this is kind of the same deal with this show. It kind of feels like the world we've been living in the past few years, and that's kind of how the rebels in the show, will feel like the rebels, I guess, in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of, I mean, I know they even they name dropped some political stuff there. I don't remember if it was Tony Gilroy or one of the other writers or something, but yeah.
Yeah, to bounce off of that, the Imperial Senate
Yeah.
is going to
I-
feel very poignant.
A return to Coruscant.
Yeah,
Like, we haven't been there since back in the
and
day.
a showcase of Imperial City. Because, right,
Yeah.
like, Coruscant is supposed to be Imperial City at this point, even though I don't really know if that's canon anymore. But I love just the thought of, like, how different I think Coruscant should feel during the Empire.
I just
I'm
love
really
the
looking forward to
visual
seeing that.
of the Senate, and you see like the Imperial cog on the
Ooh.
floor, and
Yeah.
then just the.
There was a new poster that
I
came
just
out that
love
was
to see that.
beautiful.
I think that something to keep in mind just for like a casual viewer, which I feel like I'm always the voice of reason for like a casual viewer on our content. I don't know anyone's name who's like producing anything or like making anything. You throw like directors' names around and what they've done, and I'm just like, okay.
Well, I know Tony
Sure.
Gilroy worked on Rogue One, so
Yeah.
But here's the thing: I don't remember things like that.
fair enough. Fair enough.
I just exist and I consume the content. I remember Diego Luna, and
That's all you need.
that's
Love
it.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let this man touch Jabba. He said in an interview that he would never subject Cassian to his obsession and that he's been to therapy now and he no longer needs to touch Jabba. And I think that's heartbreaking. I think that's a
Oh
tragedy.
my god!
I think that's just the marketing
it to
people
happen.
telling him to say that. I think he still wants
You gotta
to
get this
touch
under wraps, dude. Like you can't keep telling everyone this. Gosh.
But yeah, I mean, what do you
Genevieve
guys...
O'Reilly. Now that we're bringing up actors, Genevieve
Who?
O'Reilly.
Oh,
Mon Mothma.
yeah,
She
Mon
was Mon
Mothma.
Mothma in Revenge of the Sith and
Yeah.
then
Yes.
in Rebels.
Yes.
And in Rogue One.
Oh, yes, and in Rogue One. The gays love Genevieve O'Reilly. I don't know why, but we just all do. And I'm so pumped that Mon Mothma is going to get to wear a different outfit other than that white, like, bed
Like,
sheet
Gra-
that
Greta
she has
Garbo?
always
The
worn.
white bag.
Yeah. So pumped. She looks amazing. Genevieve O'Reilly is a like fascinating person. Every interview she's ever done is just like dripping with like insight and wisdom. She's just someone who like really seems to take the art of acting very seriously, and also she seems to just love that she's gotten to like keep returning to this character,
Yeah.
which is wild to think about. That like she showed up in 2003 for Revenge of the Sith, almost all of her stuff got cut, and then like years and years later, like she's getting to reprise this role like multiple times, and each time it's slightly bigger. That's super cool.
And at the time of Rogue One, I didn't know who she was, or I didn't know about the Revenge of the Sith deleted scenes or anything like that. And all I remember is just seeing her appear on screen and my head like exploding. I'm like, holy, that's just Mon Mothma. Like how did they do that? Like I literally like could not understand because she looks the part so perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's cool that like the show will kind of, it seems like it'll focus on Andor and Mon Mothma at the same time, kind of the sparks of this rebellion beginning.
Andor.
Cassian Andor. Should I play it again?
Yes.
Cassian Andor.
So I got to talk about Stellan
I was
Skarsgård's
just gonna say.
character.
Know who Stellan Skarsgård is? I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with Callus because I really relate to his journey in Rebels, his redemption arc is just something that like hits very close to home with my own life and my own journey, and like being part of this institution and realizing that you're doing more harm than good, and knowing that like if you are open about your doubts or your feelings, that like they would not care about you, or like you would be in danger, and like having to like do the work to like get out from under that is just something that like really connected with me. And I think there is something inherently, not to just like come on here and talk about queer stuff the whole time, but there's something inherently queer in like spy stories and having to present a different version of yourself in these different situations, and having to like keep secret about the people you're texting, or like having to keep stuff from your family, or having to go to parties and act a certain way because you knew that if you were too upfront about stuff that like people would suspect something about you and you would get caught. And so like seeing Stellan Skarsgård through the whole trailer, and he like looks like this rebel bum, and then the end, he's acting completely different. He's dressed completely different. He's in this fancy room, and he's like very clearly talking in a different way. I was just like, yes, this is so weird. Yes, I relate to this. So like, I'm just so freaking pumped for this character. Do I think that we're finally going to get an actual real queer character in Star Wars and Andor? I don't think so. I think they would have been patting themselves on the back long before now.
You're probably right about that.
So like, I'm not going into it expecting anything, but in the same way that I think Rogue One feels very queer, and the same way Rebels feels very queer to a lot of fans, I think this will be another example of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. I like that. I like that idea of the whole spy thing and secrets, and it's a good angle on that.
Superhero stories where someone has a secret identity, and spy stories where someone is like playing the powerful side, you know, like the show Turn feels super queer for that reason. And Callus's story, I think, feels very queer for that reason, and for the stuff with Zeb. I think there's a reason why it hits for a lot of queer fans.
Yeah.
Somewhere in this room, I have a very romantic picture of, it's actually art of Zeb and Callus, and I wish I had it in my background today.
I love that for you.
I don't know where it is, but I think
yeah.
it's over by the figures.
We're missing out.
It's very cute.
We are
It's just
missing
like
out.
them like hugging, but it's very, very cute.
It's great.
So I love you
yeah.
just like remembered that. I was like, wait, what are you trying to show
I
off
love
here?
Zeb and Callus. I mean, so let's talk about Rebels.
We were so late to watching Rebels. We were
were.
so late to watching Rebels. Like we went to Star Wars Celebration 2019, and we hadn't watched it yet. And they had like the giant like Loth Wolf just like in the shop, and I just like saw it, and I'm just like, yeah. And I think about this every day now. I am so mad at myself for just going, yeah.
I nearly tackled that thing to the ground. I gave it such a big hug.
Like, it kills me because like Kanan is like one of my like all-time favorite Star Wars characters, like hands down, and I'm just so upset.
At Celebration Chicago, I remember Matt telling us like we were idiots.
I didn't want to say that. I wasn't gonna bring it up.
It was only like a couple of years after it had come out. We didn't miss it by too much. But, yeah.
Freddie Prinze Jr. called me a gangsta on Twitter because he likes my Iron Bull, or sorry, the Iron Bull cosplay.
All right.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's my little claim to fame.
That's good. That's a pretty good one.
That's pretty good.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to say I'm hoping we get some Rebels connections in Andor. Going in very open-minded, but I would love to see some Fulcrum agents working together.
Oh yeah.
Whether that be Callus, Sabine, or Ahsoka, but all of them have used the codename Fulcrum along with Andor, so I think it would be very appropriate to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
some
already
of those
getting
characters popping up.
rebels with, because they're going to use Fulcrum. They're probably at some point going to have Mon Mothma's speech to the galaxy that she makes, kind of declaring the Rebel Alliance as a thing.
You think they'll have that?
It depends on how far
in the
they
second
wanna go
season, probably not the
timeline-wise.
first.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because the second season is supposed to lead like 5 days up to Rogue One, and Rebels is basically the same kind of thing,
Yeah.
It seems like they're doing a lot of time jumps in Andor, which I think will be easier for the more serious fans to keep track of, but maybe I could see that being a problem for more casual fans with like,
Yeah.
oh wait, when is this?
Yeah.
But also time doesn't matter in Star Wars, and I hate when fans get too granular about it. Like,
It's the
how long
entertainment.
was Luke on Dagobah? Long
That's the
enough
first one that came to mind.
Yeah.
long enough to learn what he needed to. How long were the Clone Wars? They definitely weren't 3 years. I know that Star Wars official answer is 3 years, but that doesn't make sense. So, like, they were as long as they needed to be.
Well, there's a difference between like Luke on Dagobah and like that just works. Like you watch the movie, that works. It's
Yeah.
nothing tells me otherwise when I watch it. People overthink that stuff, but
Yeah.
there's also like confusing. You have to think most Star Wars most people watching Star Wars are casual fans. Like
Of
that
course.
sounds weird, but they're gonna be confused. Like
It's another reason
remember-
the timing of the Rogue One release also confused the
Yeah,
hell out of the average
back to that.
viewer, because it was,
And even
how
Solo.
is Jyn related to Rey? People were so grasping at so many straws for that, and it's like, you gotta let it go. You gotta
had
let it go.
I've had a few friends that are a bit more casual, and they're always confused with what's going on where. And like look at Book
the
of Boba. Like
the
that
Darth Maul
was
stuff in Solo, I
Oh
think,
my
threw a lot
God.
of people.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that did.
Yeah.
But I keep mentioning how Mando Season 3 is going to come out, and like the new trailer that just dropped, Grogu is with him the entire time. And so anyone who just watched The Mandalorian is going to be like, whoa,
Yeah.
how did
You have to watch
why,
Boba Fett
how did this happen?
to learn that.
I've been telling so many coworkers and friends, like, look, if you do not care about Boba Fett, you have to at least watch
like,
the
the
those
final
2
3
episodes.
episodes.
Yeah, 5,
Yeah.
6, and
Because
7.
the final 3 episodes are The Mandalorian season 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
are.
they just are.
It's a very odd
Yeah.
choice that they did that. I liked it. I enjoyed it, but it was you had that nice moment to end season 2 and powerful moment, and then
I
And
know.
then we have the
Grogu's
reunion
back.
that's just, what?
I thought it cheapened the finale of Mando.
I agree. I
thought
think
Yeah,
it should have been
definitely.
longer.
I liked Book of Boba Fett, but I thought it was a huge mistake to have Mando and Grogu reunite immediately the first time we see them again, because the emotional payoff of the end of season 2 is Mando letting Grogu go, and to immediately be like, oh, actually,
Well-
let them do that.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I think Filoni and Favreau kind of know that. When we got into the Mando panel at Celebration, and they specifically sat down and talked about how, like, Grogu went back to being a Jedi, which is what he was before, and Mando went back to being a bounty hunter, which is what he was before. And that's when they realized they have to let go of those lives to be with each
Yeah.
other, as
Here's
opposed
the thing, though.
to.
Why was it in Book of Boba Fett?
Well, I agree 100%.
That's the problem.
I agree 100%.
If we had just gotten Mando in Book of Boba Fett and saw him being the bounty hunter and saw him like learning these lessons of like he has to let go of being a bounty hunter,
Yeah.
and then Mando
Could've been more
season
stretched out.
3 was them reconnecting.
Yep.
I think that would have been stronger. It would have made the payoff for the ending of season 2 stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But,
agree. I do like
Um,
Grogu leaving Luke, leaving his training early because of attachment, giving Luke a little taste of his own medicine for what he did to Yoda. So now it's come back full circle. He
Jamie
loses
and
a
I-
student.
before we
For the
get
same
back
reason.
to
Cassian Andor.
Jamie and I always joke that like whoever saved Grogu back in the day from the
Oh,
temple
yeah,
or whatever,
the
like
temple.
they're looking down or from wherever they are in the Force, like, look at this piece of shit. Like, he's supposed to be a Jedi and help us all. And
Saved
He's
this
just-
ungrateful little green bean, and he's out there.
Grogu's just
doing whatever
lazy. He wants to ride around with Mando. I don't blame him. But
That's it. Too
Oh
much
my gosh.
rock jumping, too many
Yeah.
lightsabers. It's a whole thing. He doesn't.
So I guess the next question is: will Grogu show up in Andor?
No. Next
I mean,
question.
it's possible, but
He's
Matt,
not gonna
Matt,
show
I feel like you haven't
Andor.
shared
He
much of
will.
your thoughts for Andor. How are you feeling for the show?
I mean,
I know you
I'm
said
in, like
excited, but
Ahsoka is probably my top show, but Andor is up there. Like Andor is probably in my top 3 most anticipated projects. First of all, I love Rogue One. I'm with Andy. Like, I'm with Andy's husband, actually. It's one of my top Rogue One or Star Wars movies of all time.
Right.
Rogue One is way up there for me. And I loved the cast. I especially loved Cassian, so I'm super happy. And it just seems like they saw how popular Rogue One was. They turned back to Tony Gilroy and they said, yeah, make more of that. And he said, all right. And now we're basically
do.
getting Rogue One 2, even though it's a prequel, but we're getting just more Rogue One. We're going to get more Saw, which I'm always happy about. Love Saw. And like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing Coruscant. I'm looking forward to seeing Mon Mothma interact with the Imperial Senate, the actual Imperial Senate that wasn't just like disbanded, off screen in a casual conversation on the Death Star, but we actually get to see what that means. But I especially just love the way the show looks, and I know this is probably a dead horse by now, and I love the volume. Don't get me wrong.
I was gonna bring this up.
But Obi-Wan, I think, went a little too much in the volume direction, and I think this show shooting all on location. I don't think there's really any volume work in this show, which is why it took so damn long. It's also 12 episodes, which is like holy crap. But I just think it's going to look phenomenal. I think it's going to just look so cool.
I think it could go down as the most beautiful looking Star Wars thing. I mean, Last Jedi's up there, Rogue One's up there.
I'd probably
obviously
say most beautiful looking of the Disney Plus shows so far.
That'll be no doubt it will be. Yeah.
It's going to take that handily for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have a sweeping view of some cavern valley with Cassian wearing a poncho, so it's immediately number 1.
Already,
Yeah, ponchos
from that
Do
shot.
love ponchos.
Ponchos only.
I think there's a lot of really fun cameo potential, which nerds love to like set their expectations too high, and I'm coming in this like with a very open heart of like whatever we get, I'll be excited about. But could we see like Gideon or Thrawn at a party or walking through the Senate? Like, could we see Krennic like walking around? Could we see Melshi? Could we see
Hera? Could we see
Callus? Could we
I think
see Ahsoka?
Melshi will be in the show actually.
I hope so.
That'll be great.
Can we get Tivik? Like,
Ooh.
the fact that we know where this show is ending doesn't remove the drama. If the writers are talented, they can really use it to heighten it. So if we see Cassian and Tivik building this sort of like relationship, like they clearly know each other, they've clearly worked together, and then Rogue One opens with Cassian murdering Tivik, like
It makes that more heartbrearking.
you can really heighten the drama and the stakes by knowing where this ends.
Yeah, I remember they said that season 2 of Andor is going to end 5 days before Rogue One, and it's actually him and Tivik making plans to meet. That's going to be the last scene. Oh yeah, well, I'll meet you on the Rings of Kefreen, and he's like,
Maybe
all right,
we'll grab
cool.
lunch.
Yeah, we'll grab lunch, and my arm will be fully healed by then. We'll see. But no, I agree 100%. Like you mentioned, like Thrawn and
I didn't think of Imperial cameos.
You
but
gotta
that would
go
make
in with
sense, yeah.
absolutely zero expectations of like who you want to see, but then you gotta have your like secret like list of like people you really want to see.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not think about it. You gotta write it down. Just put it away.
I know
And then
Tony Gilroy was
after-
adamant on being like, "There's no fan service in this. It's all just
It's
there's
not
there's
fan
there's
service
no
if
fan
it's like
service.
done correctly. Like if
I
it
mean,
makes
I
sense for the story,
agree.
it's not fan service.
I mean, it would make sense for those characters to show
I
up
don't
too.
know.
Like, no question.
His definition of fan service might be totally different than like what
I
we're
think-
thinking.
I have
Maybe.
one thing, and I know this is going to sound stupid as hell, but I have one
Oh.
thing that I'm like, are they going to pull this off, or are they going to not surprise me? Are they going to overwrite the Cassian and K2 comic that shows Cassian and K2 meeting, or are they going to stick with that? And I don't mind either way. Don't really care. But I'm so curious as to how they're going to have Cassian and K2 meet, even though that's already technically happened in canon. We have a comic. We have a really cool comic, too. A lot of people don't talk about it, but... Yeah, well, I like the siblings that speak to each other in scents. I think that's really cool. They smell at each other.
Get that comic out the airlock, like
No.
Chopper did another astromech. Get rid of that comic. Do your own thing. Don't be beholden to
A
it.
split
I,
opinion. I like
I-
it.
I wonder if they're going to do it. I
It
wonder.
appears 50% of us in this podcast right now have read this thing, and then even less percentage of that enjoyed this thing.
No, it's pretty bland, but I like the siblings smelling at each other, and I think it would be cool for them to put them in the show.
That'd be something.
That'd be something.
Because you don't get that too often.
I don't have faith that they will.
No, I don't either. And
'cause-
and like I said, I'm not going to be mad if they don't, keep to the comic. I don't really care, but I'm curious. I want to see where they're gonna go with that.
That's fair.
I really want to see Chopper. Like, I hope that.
I mean, they already have the asset.
they have
Yeah.
the
So I
have
hope
the
that, like,
asset.
Chopper's
That
gonna be in
and the
it more.
ghost.
Like,
So
I like said this on some other random episode we recorded recently, or a stream or something. But I swear, if like the entire Ghost crew just like shows up, like
we've
my
talked about
brain is going to melt.
Natasha
It is going to be
shows up.
outside of my body, bottled up on the floor, like gone.
Season two.
I
You'll
would
get
love
it. For sure.
for AP5 to be like the cue to Cassian's bond.
Oh, that'd be
like-
so good.
Like if,
That would
be
if Cassian has to come back to the Masasi Temple between missions and get like new tech and gear
Oh my
from
God.
AP5,
They could
like,
so easily do that.
there's so much potential here because like we know that live action Thrawn is coming, so like
Exactly.
You gotta like.
yeah, drop him here. Like Ben Mendelsohn is obsessed with Krennic. Like he loves Krennic. So like just give him a call. Just be like, hey, we want you to like walk by the camera, throw the costume on again.
Like,
Like
busy? Do you
get
have
some
one day
coffee.
available?
the man
coffee
man
ice cream.
loves that character. Like I'm sure he'd do it if they asked. So like there's so much fun potential for like different characters to pop in and like not fan service for the sake of fan service, but like cameos to make the universe feel lived in and real. Like
Yeah,
I remember
interconnected.
seeing people call Tarkin fan service in Rogue One, and I was like, no, of course
How?
Tarkin has to be in Rogue One. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they
it
gonna
wouldn't
do?
have made sense if he wasn't there. So like
Exactly.
there's definitely tons of characters that like if they want to use them, it would make sense for them to show up and be there and be present.
I know I sound like a broken record, but season 2. I think
Season
that's
2.
all
Yeah.
that can all happen in season 2. I think there's tons of potential there.
Season 2 is just gonna be off the charts.
Yep.
And now that we mentioned Q and Bond, like I need
I
a
love that.
Cassian like gadget room scene, getting all of his
100%.
stuff before his assignment. And
That is too good.
I need that to happen. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yep.
Like I feel it's weird. I feel like just once the blaster bolts start flying, once the bullets start flying, like I'll be excited watching this show. I just need it now. Like we've been postponed already. We
Well,
waited
soon.
years for this anyways. So
Very soon.
yeah.
Very soon.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued about like who the big bad's going to be and what
Yeah.
the missions are going to be, especially in like this first season, which is so far before Rogue One that like it seems like the later stuff is going to be all geared towards slowly figuring out the Death Star is out there, with
Yeah.
Bodhi Rook's defection like being the final straw and putting the pieces together. But this early stuff could be anything. Like is it
I
going to be
love-
about the TIE Defender project? Maybe. Who knows? like there's so many options out there that
I love how so far, and we're running out of time. But I love how so far in the trailers we have not only do we have like clone trooper armor, so like it's like that kind of like era is gonna be
Yeah.
shown like a little bit, but we also have like different variants of mud troopers, which we see in Solo, and I love the
Yes.
mud trooper. That's my favorite trooper variant, and like just like seeing like variants of that again, I'm just like yes, here we go.
Well-
So it's gonna be like interesting seeing like Are we gonna see more of like the clones getting like phased out? Are we gonna? I don't think we're gonna see that much of it because I think that's what the Bad Batch is gonna like end game be. But like still like, I just
with Cassian being from a separatist family and being in this fight since he was 6 years old, like there's so much interesting political stuff there of this idea of like, how does Cassian feel about the Jedi? Like, how does Cassian feel about the Republic? How does Cassian, like, probably not great.
Yeah.
Probably not real good if he, like, meets Rex, because Rex is in the rebellion at this time. I'm sure he's not thrilled about that. If he was a, like, separatist, like, freedom fighter and his parents were separatists, like, there's so much interesting stuff that you can do with this show and with this time period. Can't wait to see what they have in store for us.
Yeah.
I love the Dark Times.
I know.
You're getting a lot of it.
I love
You're
the Dark
getting
Times.
a lot of it.
All right. Well, I think that is a sufficient amount of, I guess, we talked about Andor on this episode.
For like 15 minutes.
15% of the episode.
Thank you so much, Andy. Thank you so much for coming on to our show. Where can everyone find you on social media?
So my Twitter is @1hattown. You should follow me on Twitter because I'm great. And then my podcast is Force Friends Rewatch. Ryan is my co-host. He's over here sometimes too. We deep dive Star Wars TV shows in like chronological order of events based on a specific theme. So we covered every Mandalorian themed episode in chronological order, and we're currently working through every Ryloth themed episode in chronological order. So check us out.
Yeah, their stuff is incredible. They're always doing something crazy with like a lot
Very
of different
fun.
content. So
Very fun.
yes, it's true. I
Go
love
on.
to listen to it. But thank you, Andy. Thank you, AJ and Matt. My name has been Jamie. You can find us everywhere on social media at HoloNet Marauders. On Twitter, it is just at HoloNet Marauder. If you've been listening to the audio version, we have a video version. Check it out on YouTube. If you've been watching on YouTube, you can also take us to go on your audio version. Everywhere you get your normal podcasts. Who would have thought? Thank you so much for listening to the HoloNet Marauders podcast.